Welcome back to Gale Force Wins Season 4.
Good morning. My name is Christina Ennis, and I'm super happy to be here this morning, guest hosting Gale Force Wins. And thank you so much to Jerry and Alan for having me today. And I'm here this morning with Brad Russell. Brad is co-owner and CEO of a local company called Big Feed Club. And I'm super happy that you joined me here this morning to have this chat.
Thanks for having me.
Excellent. So I guess to kick things off, if you can give a little introduction about yourself, your background, and kind of what you're up to on the day-to-day.
Sure. I'm originally from the Stephenville and Port-au-Port area of the province, which is on the west coast. Came out to St. John's to go to school back in 2004 and have had a whole host of jobs and I guess roles and schemes, let's say. Got my start at university with the Memorial University Students' Union. Moved on to private consulting. I think I did door-to-door insurance sales at one point, which I can say is as bad as it sounds. And got in the consulting world then with the provincial government, the provincial legislature. Started my own business during the pandemic, and kind of here I am.
Pandemic. New business.
Yeah, it's we saw an opportunity and we took it, and I am so glad that we did. It's been great so far.
Awesome. So that would be Big Feed Club, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. What is Big Feed Club? Is it a real club? Is it a club?
Well, it's you do have to have a membership to be a part of the club, but the membership is free, so that is always great.
Favorite kind of membership.
So it's we are a local grocery delivery business that focuses on high-level customer service, but also reaching areas that are hard to reach in our province. So there's a lot of places in Newfoundland and Labrador that find it very difficult to get fresh produce, fresh foods. So we started here on the Northeast Avalon, but have now expanded to 23 drop-off locations across the province, and we're expanding door-to-door delivery to 100 new communities in the next year or so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That sounds great. I want to know more about Big Feed Club, but you said you've had many obscure jobs, and you did a few like door-to-door sales. Was that your favorite job? What's been your favorite job you've had?
Ooh, what was my video store clerk?
Video store clerk, like Blockbuster?
No, Debbie's Video Shop.
Debbie's?
2 P's and an E. So shop, SHOPPE. She's a local business owner. She's still in business in Stephenville, and she was a wonderful employer. And I just loved the interaction with people on the day-to-day. So it was my high school job, and it was great. So usually in Stephenville there was always a night where the teenagers would get together to get up to no good, and whatever night that was,
and you were with them.
And whatever night that was, she would switch shifts with me to make sure I had it off.
You were.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the interaction with people coming in, and like Brad's picks of what movies to see, like it was great. I loved it.
That's hilarious. So, were you responsible for Be Kind Rewind, or the people?
Yes.
Rewind?
Well, you mean, I took people to task if they didn't rewind, but we did have a rewinder in store, and this was like the beginning of DVDs as well too, right? So like a lot of customer education for on how to use a DVD player.
So it led you to consulting?
Consulting, well, I mean, come to think about it, I probably learned some skills at that job for consulting, but that, it eventually played out to consulting, yeah.
That's cool. And what was your first job that you ever had?
My first job was, I was hired with the Young Canada Works program in Grossmorn to set up fake clay eggs in fake bird nests so that pine marten would try to bite them and leave their teeth impressions in the clay eggs, and then we could do a census on the pine marten. So but unfortunately, when I got to Grossmorn, they found out that I had an allergy to wasps.
Oh no.
So they couldn't risk for liability reasons to send me into the backcountry and drop me off from a helicopter in case I went into anaphylactic shock while in the backcountry. So they stuck me in the library and had me repair picnic tables.
That works too, as long as you got paid.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I was making big money. I was making $7.34 an hour. That was big money back then.
That's very pine marten census, which I know pine martens are endangered.
Oh, they're making it. They just got upgraded, I believe, on the list. So they're vulnerable now, not endangered. We've seen a groundswell of new pine marten in western Newfoundland. So it's been great.
I'm happy to hear maybe the census did work.
Yeah. Maybe I played some tiny part. You know, my not being able to go into the woods. Maybe some the butterfly effect of it all. Yeah.
I don't know if pine martens have been discussed in such detail in the past or on any podcast ever around the world.
Yes.
But, it was the first time for everything.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go back to Big Feed Club. How did Big Feed Club come about?
Wow, it was during the pandemic, go to early days of the pandemic, where everybody was fascinated with Zoom. Myself and a lot of my friends would play poker on Friday nights because everybody was in lockdown. And a friend of mine, my business partner now, Jamie Heath, he had been laid off during the pandemic. He was a B2B sales expert. So worked for Moneris Payment Solutions. He's worked for Staples Business Supplies, Auckland's Granger, a packaging company. And I was still working at the provincial government at the time. And a mutual friend of ours told us about a business that was operating in Toronto called Comfort.to. And they would do local Costco delivery to apartment buildings. And, it can be, there wasn't really an alternative in Toronto at that time for Costco and what have you. And Newfoundlanders and Labradorians are absolutely obsessed with Costco. So we started doing a bit of research on it, and we said, okay, well, now's as good a time as any to give this a shot. There was a high desire for grocery delivery during the pandemic. People didn't know what was going on. So we went to start building the e-com website. And 5 or 6 months later, a lot of hard work. So I have a bit of a background in managing tech projects, like when I was in the consulting world. So this was it wasn't foreign to me, let's say. I mean, building the e-commerce infrastructure. And then we launched in January 2021. I think the first week we had we just had friends and family basically order from us for the first week. The second week we didn't have a single sale. And we said, okay, we can do this for 5 or 6 more weeks, and then we're gonna run out of money.
Yes.
And then COVID wave 2 hit. And I think we did like
February 13th, 2021.
Yeah, and then I think we did like 60,000 in sales in like 2 days.
Oh my God.
3 days.
Wow.
And we've maintained and retained a lot of those customers, right? But it was a shot in the arm. I guess no pun intended, we're talking about COVID, but it was like a shot in the arm for us to be able to have a base load of customers try the service and then to provide referrals and to tell their friends and their family about it. So it was the timing was impeccable. We couldn't have planned it like that if we had tried. Yeah. And now we've turned it into this this thing that just keeps growing, and people are knocking on our doors almost every day, our proverbial digital doors, it's been great.
Cool. Yeah. What have been some of the highlights? I know you guys have been on the news a couple times, on the radio for some announcements. When we talk about access to food in rural communities and different regions of the province, both that are geographically separated from access to buying bulk fresh food, but also from an affordability perspective. How have partnerships become a part of the business model in terms of growth and just kind of getting outside of the metro bubble?
Yeah. So, when we started, we, we've always said we wanted to do local foods first before we did like Costco and Wholesale Club and all that stuff. The business model just wasn't there for it. Just because we're so geographically dispersed as a province, people settled closest to the fishing resource. So you mean last mile, which we call it in the business, you mean the last mile, I mean it's the between like your distribution hub and the actual home, is very challenging in Newfoundland and Labrador. But it makes us a really cool test market as well for some innovative services like this. So we wanted to do local first. We finally gotten to a point where, local foods produced are getting plugged into our network. So like you're probably never gonna have a local company make laundry detergent or toilet paper, which are household staples.
Right.
But we can grow microgreens, we can do root vegetables, we can secondary products. So people will buy local if it's easy and convenient. You know what I mean? So not only do you get your laundry detergent and your toilet paper and whatever other product that's fresh from another part of the world,
right,
but people can kind of add their local products onto that basket, right? So what we've done in St. John's and the region of Northeast Avalon, we do door-to-door delivery ourselves with our own staff, with cooler trucks to make sure everything is kept food safe in transit. Outside of the Northeast Avalon, because of the geography of Newfoundland and Labrador, it's very, very difficult to put like a dedicated truck on the road to like the Burin Peninsula or to where I'm from, to Stephenville. I mean, that's 800 kilometers. That's a trek.
Not a Sunday afternoon drive.
Exactly. So the analogy that we use now is like, say you're going to design a park. The old way of thinking was that, you sketch out, the designer sketches out their park, and they place all the paths on their park and where the water fountain's going to go and where the tennis court's going to go or whatever. Or the skating loop. But now the thinking is you build your green space and you wait for people to see where they walk. And then you pave it. Or you put the paths in there. So you...
Cool.
Yeah, so people will take the path of least resistance, let's say. Like those routes are kind of, to make an analogy with our business, there are already dedicated delivery routes for other items in Newfoundland and Labrador. So I'll give you an example, Sheeran's Taxi. So Sheeran's Taxi has been in business for 30 years, I believe. I think he said he's driven 5 million kilometers. And he does delivery for a whole host of packages in Clarenville and the Bonavista Peninsula, but he comes into St. John's 5 days a week. So we formed a partnership with Sheeran's Taxi, and we'll be launching grocery delivery in Clarenville and the Bonavista Peninsula door to door. So reduces the carbon that we emit by using another local business, plus we put money in Mr. Sheeran's pocket, which is great for his business. And we're not reinventing the wheel. You know what I mean? Like civic addressing, as an example, is a real big problem in rural Newfoundland and Labrador. So I remember some people that have reached out, and it's like, I live the fifth house. I live at the fifth house down, past the mailboxes. It's like, but there was no address. You know what I mean? Like that type of stuff.
And you can't deliver Costco to a P.O. box, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's exactly. So that's one example. The other example, I guess, would be with DRL, and that's been our most successful to date partnership. So DRL is like the mainland equivalent of the Greyhound, let's say, and we're using fallow capacity on the bus service. So the bus is super reliable. It has a 98% on-time rate. Nice. It goes 7 days a week, 365. So we just moved up to 7 days a week now that we're shipping goods across the province to 23 different locations.
Cool.
So as an example, like Doyle's, we have a lot of customers in the community in and around Doyle's. They don't have access to a local grocery store.
And for those who don't know where Doyle's is, whereabouts is Doyle's?
Oh, right. It's on the west coast of the island. So it's about 900 kilometers from our warehouse. So it's quite the trek.
Yes. Cool.
Yeah.
That's really fun. Is there anything in particular that has made Doyle's? Do you know why Doyle's?
I think it's the ready access.
Big fan.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of great customers there that have spread the word by mouth. Like I think we spend less than $20 a day on advertising. Our business is mostly driven by word of mouth. And we have a lot of great customers in the Doyle's area that have spread the word, but then they also lack ready access to a lot of fresh foods and grocery stores. So it seems to be a bit of a lifeline for a lot of people in that area. We have a customer, as an example, that lives in Fleur-de-Lis. Fleur-de-Lis is about an hour's drive from where the bus stop would be.
Right.
And she drives twice a month. She'll drive 1 hour to meet the bus to pick up her groceries, and then 1 hour back. Because the alternative was she was driving 2.5 hours one way to Corner Brook, and then 2.5 hours back for fresh produce. Yeah. So it's for rural, we're trying to tackle a problem or solve a problem that it's very close to our hearts. I'm from a rural area originally. Jamie's from a little place called Long Island. Population, I think 150. I think he's related to a quarter of them. You know what I mean? So that's it's very near and dear to our hearts to try to offer a service that not only can we be successful and make money at, but also facilitate something that's so important, which is food. Yeah,
I remember that similar example being brought up. We don't need to talk about it any further, but when the carbon tax was in the news, more so I think in the fall, that was an example that was used quite frequently around the way that policy is disproportionately affecting people who live in rural areas, who simply cannot access basic needs where they live through no fault of their own.
It's I mean, rural areas, like I said, coming from a rural area, just the distance that you have to put in, like the physical distance that you need to drive for goods, certainly adds up, right? And so that's why so many people that use our service absolutely love it, because they can order what they want. They have a huge variety. They know it's going to be of quality, and they know it's going to show up the time that's convenient for them.
Awesome. And I love that. We've probably all seen those pictures from northern communities where maybe a bottle of orange juice is like $12.
Absolutely.
And from an affordability perspective and access to fresh, healthy food, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you've experienced a ton of growth. Another thing we hear all of the time in the news with people in all different sectors of business is that they are having a really difficult time finding and retaining workers.
Right.
And I know that it was literally just you and Jamie when you first started, and now it's not just you and Jamie and one truck. Tell us how you've approached that, how much you've grown since that first week where you did sales, the second where there was no sales, and now what is...
Yeah, absolutely. You have to put the sweat equity into it when you start a business. You know what I mean? Like Jamie and I don't think we took a salary for... I didn't until... almost 3 years in. Jamie, I think a year and a half or 2 years in, didn't take any money and thankfully he had a very supportive partner in his life that could help him with that. But it took a while for us to get to a point where we were cash flow positive and that we could afford to hire employees. In saying that, we haven't had any problems attracting talent. And good employees that want to stick around, and it comes down to paying them well and treating them well. It's not it's not rocket science, in my opinion. As an example, and as you know, we just went to hire an employee there the other day. We had our ad up for their job posting up for 36 hours, and we had 135 applications. So it comes down to being able to treat people well, pay people well, because like when we started, when we got to the point where we could hire our first employee, we said, we looked at each other, my business partner and I, Jamie, and said, we can't hire someone and pay them a wage that they wouldn't be able to afford to use the service themselves. And I think that is a good way to look at it.
That's a sustainable mindset.
Yeah, thank you.
Good. So how many employees do you have now?
We have two full-time employees, and
Four of you full-time.
there's 4 of us full-time. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. And you guys, I guess not so recently, you have a warehouse.
Yeah.
Space now?
So about 18 months ago, we moved into our food licensed warehouse. So like I said, everything was out of the back of a rental van first. But now, we have a space that we can warehouse goods, the sending and receiving area. So like we're bringing in local products that can be dropped off, or we can get products out, and it's been great.
Awesome. That is pretty cool. One of the things that I really enjoy about following the trajectory of the business over the last several years is the branding. You mentioned that you don't spend a ton on ads, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Your engagement on social media is great, and the humor in some of the posts, which you say viral, that get shared. So they end up getting shared, a little bit funny. How did you guys end up? I believe it was a little bit organic at the beginning.
Yeah.
So can you give us some examples of those absolutely hilarious posts and how they came to be?
I think Newfoundlanders are the funniest people on the planet, personally. So you're exactly right. A lot of it was organic, and we've slacked off a little bit on social over the last number of months, kind of as we've been expanding. We're hoping to get a lot back to our roots there. But a lot of it was conversations with people and trying to, when we were trying to explain the concept of, we're going to go to a bunch of different stores for you. We're going to package things in insulated packaging. We're going to put it in boxes, and we're going to put it on the bus, and you just wait for the bus. Trying to explain that process to people at the beginning, and we didn't do a great job of making that clear through our channels, right? Like we didn't realize people would struggle with the concept so much.
Yeah.
So going through that process, and the questions that we would get, and the comments that we would get were a lot of the content that we shared. So we had, just some of the emails are just so funny. Like we had one lady email us and say how much cheese can fit in a large box, and that was all. She didn't sign her name to it, you know what I mean? And like the email was hilarious. So like the email address, it was like Snoopy something at hotmail.com. And you know what I mean? So it's like, well, you have to provide us a little bit more content than that, right? And others were just
like the highway one, the one.
Yeah, the roundabout. Yeah, so for people, I guess, at home that don't realize, Newfoundland and Labrador has very few roundabouts, which is really funny. Like I come from a town where there's only 2 stoplights. My business partner Jamie, there's definitely not a stoplight. There might not even be a stop sign. So a lot of Newfoundlanders struggle with getting in and out of the roundabout. Up near where the Costco facility is located. So we a number of customers commented and emailed us, said like, I'm so grateful that this service is available now. I won't have to go in the roundabout. And one young lady commented that it was a danger to just society at large that her mother had to traverse the roundabout. So you know what I mean? So it's just like some of the content we get is just hilarious in and of itself. And obviously we'd ask people's permission before we posted it. That's been a big part of it. It's just because Newfoundlanders are naturally funny, and Jamie and I have, I think, a pretty good sense of humor. So just taking our day-to-day experiences and putting it out to the world, I think people really enjoy it.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're contributing to the overall public safety of the province.
Yeah, exactly.
Good job. You mentioned earlier about how COVID was a bit of a blessing for this type of business.
Sure.
There's definitely certain sectors or certain types of businesses that were kind of catapulted forward.
Yep.
Organizations that maybe had to very quickly learn to adopt technology or fill a gap in the community. There's been a lot of discussion lately around access to food, both nationally, but also provincially. There's organization Food First NL, the school lunch announcement federally that occurred. Do you guys see yourselves fitting into supporting some of these social initiatives, which are also important to business communities and kind of sustainability of rural areas in the province?
Absolutely. So the thing that I love about our business and what I'm doing now is because I can feel good about, helping someone save money and have ready access to good food. I never thought I'd find a business opportunity that I was, I'm excited to wake up every single day and do it, and that I feel like people are very grateful that the service is offered. Excuse me. I didn't think that I could find something like that. Seeing some of the organizations that are out there that support access to food. I mean, we will do anything that we can to be able to support these groups. So, we've been a sponsor for School Lunch, as an example, for a number of their events, and we think that what they do is just unbelievable. It's an excellent initiative. Part of our warehouse, we actually sublease to the folks at Food First NL for their Food on the Move program. Wow. Which they go to areas like community centers, and they basically buy in bulk and then break down goods to their parts, so that, like, if you're at a community center, you can buy a apple, but pay the bulk, get the bulk discount, per unit. Which it's a fantastic program, and those folks are incredible at what they do. So, programs like that. Right now we sit on a subcommittee for the Food Producers Forum, as an example, about trying to distribute goods in this province. So, we're there to pitch in and help, because at the end of the day, we're all looking towards the same goal, which is just better food access in this province. And, hopefully for Big Feed Club, it'll be better access to food in other provinces at some point.
Yeah. Awesome. That is all really cool.
Yep.
And it reminds me, I was considering whether I want to even bring this up. I will. I had a very impactful experience. It was someone from Choices for Youth talking to the Rotary Club. I'm involved in Rotary St. John's. Shout out to them. And she was talking about the new social enterprise project that Choice for Youth is going through, building, oh my gosh, what's the road? That older building it's not Topsa Road, it goes in, used to be a gas station. It's really cool. It's white. Can't remember. Anyways, they purchased this building, and she basically talked about social enterprise, and people have this thought that social enterprise means not profitable.
Right.
But that does not. You can be both good for communities and sustainability, and also be a profitable, growing business. And I don't think you would consider Big Feed Club a social enterprise, but it's an enterprise that is filling gaps in social issues.
That's an excellent way to put it, yes.
Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally would agree. Yeah. We found, like I said, it's Jamie and I both come from rural areas, and we know how difficult it is to access food. And this is the same. We call them food deserts. So areas where, and you see this in, all over the world, but you don't just see them in rural areas. You see them in urban areas as well.
Yeah.
That just for the public transportation infrastructure or walkability or what have you. You know what I mean? That people can't have access to good food and essentials. You know what I mean? Like your toilet paper, your feminine hygiene products, your laundry detergent, what have you. So I think that more companies should, if you're thinking about starting a company, think about what you can do to have a net positive impact on a market. For us, it's been great. It's as we thought about our business model from start to finish, it was always about solving a problem that also relates to health and relates to the well-being.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love seeing businesses who really genuinely like value that ESG piece, environmental, social, governance, corporate social responsibility, and there's definitely an element here of me trying to myth bust that is not a profitable, sustainable model or approach, but it absolutely is, and I think it's something that more and more people are looking for in supporting businesses and who they choose to buy their food from, which has been very much also in the news, and people want to feel good about where they are spending their hard-earned dollars.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I mean, you get to vote with your checkbook. You know, not a whole lot of people are using a checkbook these days, but you know, you get to vote with your wallet. And if you want to see, companies have had that social mandate, or you know, what I mean, that ultimately want their business, that you want to see them, their business models ultimately be a vessel for good. It's you can be more intelligent on how you spend those dollars. You know what I mean? Do a little bit of background and research on the companies where you actually spend that money. And I think that more and more people are doing that, and I think more and more should.
Yeah, I love the transparency with you guys. You share good news and announcements all the time on your website. You very explicitly indicate that compensation for your employees and that being a livable wage is something that's very important to you guys, and I would love to see more transparency from that perspective out in the public sphere.
Well, I know that
it doesn't need to be a secret that you treat people great.
Yeah, it's been it was, and we get recognized for it on social and in places too, right? Like a number of our customers have told us, like, that's the reason why we purchase products from you. Is because we know that you're an ethical based business. And now, so we're getting it designed now, but hopefully now in the next few months, well, actually, hold on. It is designed. We're trying to automate it now. But within the next few months, we're going to have a carbon transparency dashboard as well.
Cool.
So it'll show our customers exactly how much carbon that we are producing, and then how we offset that carbon.
Cool.
So it's something that we have wanted to do for a while. It's just the nature of running a business that it's sometimes other things take your attention away.
That's very progressive. I like that. I've noticed that actually on, if you look up flights. Sometimes, I think, I don't know if they all do it, but you can see, if you use Google Flights, it'll show you the least amount of carbon footprint for which routes, which is pretty cool. Where do you see Big Feed Club this time next year?
We're growing at a pretty steady clip, like year over year. Between at any given month, 30 to 50%. So we're hoping to, like I said, be in 100 more communities this time next year, on the island, using regional transportation partnerships. Like I said, not to wait to see where people walk versus create your own path. Big uptick in sales, and at some point we're hoping in the next couple of years to expand into other rural markets.
Keep it a secret for now.
Yet to be determined, but in other provinces, we'd like to be able to expand because we think that there's a value here in our business model that other people will recognize as well.
Love it. Awesome. So if folks want to look at your website, follow you on social media, go look at those hilarious, organic posts of feedback, which I would love to see some new ones. I bet you there's audience in an inbox.
we have an ongoing list.
Where can people find you?
You can visit us at our website at www.bigfeed.ca, and on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and our handle is Big Feed Club.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining me here this morning.
Absolute pleasure.
Anything else you want to add before we clue up here?
I think we're good. Thank you very much for having me today. Really appreciate it. This was fun.
Thanks for coming to Gale Force Wins.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot for having me, folks.
We will hear about the expansion opportunities maybe next time.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Take care.
Lovely weekend.
See you later.
Thank you for tuning in to Gale Force Wins. That's Gale Force Wins, WINS.com.